Knee in the groin, fist on the throat. They hate that white girl. My reaction. You don't like it? Too bad. Knee in the groin, fist on the throat. They hate that white girl. Look at this. She falls down. Here comes Alyssa Thomas. Knee in the groin. And here she comes. Fist on the throat. Knee in the groin. Fist on the throat. Alyssa Thomas doing what Alyssa Thomas does. Showing what a talentless hack she is. Showing what a talentless hack she is.
Look at that sequence again. Knee to the groin, fist to the throat, full body weight pressing down while Caitlin Clark is on the ground. And the most telling part? Absolutely nothing happens. No whistle, no review, no technical foul. Just play on. But here's what should disturb every Indiana Fever fan watching this. Look at the sideline. Arms crossed, not moving, not protesting, not even pretending to be upset. That's your head coach, Stephanie White, watching her franchise player get assaulted on national television.
The referees are terrible, but the worst part of all of this, Caitlin Clark got kneed in the groin, throat punched, landing space, no call, and Stephanie White sat there on the sidelines with her arms crossed, tweaking, sniffing, twitching away. This is a coach that said, I ride with Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White, you ride with Alyssa Thomas. You ride with DeWanna Bonner. You don't ride with the CC22. You wish you did. You want people to think that you do, but you don't.
The pattern is impossible to ignore now. This isn't about one missed call or one bad game. Caitlin Clark left this game with a back injury. The same back injury the organization tried to hide. The same injury Stephanie White claimed wasn't serious. The same injury that had Clark wearing a back brace for weeks while the coaching staff called it load management. And when Scott Agnes, the beat reporter, accurately called it load management because her back wasn't healthy, they fired him. Not reprimanded, fired. For telling the truth about an injury everyone could see.
You don't have the cojones, the gonads, the heart, the will, the want to stick up for your players, and you don't have the care to stick up for Caitlin Clark. You don't care about that player. You look at Caitlin Clark, that's your meal ticket. That's the person that's going to get you on a national stage so you can get credit for things that you don't deserve credit for. That's the person that you're going to hitch your wagon to so you can get all these broadcast jobs. So the Indiana Fever and their 2,000 fans can glaze you and kiss your behind. While the real Caitlin Clark fans are like, you're trash.
Here's the uncomfortable reality that Fever fans need to confront. Stephanie White doesn't ride with Caitlin Clark. She rides with the old guard. She rides with Alyssa Thomas. She rides with the WNBA establishment that resents everything Clark represents. Watch any other coach in this league when their star player gets hit like that. Dawn Staley would have gotten 3 technicals before the refs could blink. Cheryl Reeve would have been ejected. Even Christy Sides, for all her faults, showed more fight protecting Clark than White has shown all season. The hugs for the cameras mean nothing when the actual coaching decisions tell a completely different story.
Skill, you use physicality. Alyssa Thomas. Again, folks, this play, no foul, no flagrant, no review. Just Caitlin Clark, get up and play on. And then she leans all of her weight on Caitlin Clark, getting up while continuing to jab her in the throat. No play here. And they said the referees were going to call this game tight. My ass, they were going to call this game tight. My ass.
Let's talk about what happened on that landing space violation. Clark shoots a three-pointer. Phoenix Mercury player steps into her landing zone. Clark comes down on her foot, immediately grabs her back. No flagrant called, not even reviewed. This is the exact play the league supposedly emphasized protecting after Zaza Pachulia ended Kawhi Leonard's season in the NBA playoffs. Stepping into a shooter's landing space is one of the most dangerous plays in basketball. It's an automatic flagrant one in most games. But not when it's Caitlin Clark, and not when her coach won't even stand up to demand the refs look at it.
So please stop acting like we're just coming, oh, whoa, finally I see the light. No. We've seen the light when she first showed up with the back brace, but you guys didn't ask about the back brace. The first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time, you didn't ask about that. Then they fired Scott Agnes because he said it was load management, because it's load management, because her back's not 100% healthy. And you guys joked around about, ha ha, he, key, coo. No flagrant foul called on this, by the way, either. The referees.
The optics of this are devastating for the Fever organization. Kelly Krauskopf had to leave her seat and go check on Clark in the locker room. The general manager felt more urgency about her star player's health than the head coach did. Think about what that means. The person responsible for roster construction and long-term planning showed more immediate concern than the person responsible for in-game player protection. That's not a coaching philosophy, that's a fundamental failure of leadership. And Amber Cox, the assistant coach, also went back to check on Clark. So the GM and an assistant coach recognized the severity of the situation, but the head coach stayed on the sideline with her arms crossed, barely reacting.
What Stephanie White actually says in press conferences and things that she does on the floor, she doesn't ride for Caitlin Clark. Then, of course, we know that Jamel Hill and Chris Williamson, two of the biggest race baiters in the WNBA space, happier than a pig in shit seeing this crap. Oh yeah, by the way, Caitlin Clark, knee in the groin, fist in the throat. Yet I'm supposed to take people like Annie Constable, who said that she's a diva and she can get the WNBA to bend to her will, seriously. I should take these people seriously. Interesting. That's why we can't take them seriously, because they're a joke. Not only is Jamel Hill and Chris Williamson happier than a pig in shit, you know who else is happier?
Here's what makes this particularly damning. The referees announced before this game that they would call it tight. Extra scrutiny on physical play. Enhanced focus on player safety. All the right buzzwords to make it sound like they learned from the Angel Reese hip check incident and the Kennedy Carter body slam. Complete lies, all of it. Alyssa Thomas kneels on Clark's groin, punches her throat, and uses her full weight to stand up while Clark is defenseless on the floor. That's not basketball, that's assault. And it happened right in front of 3 referees who decided it wasn't worth their attention. The league office can talk all they want about protecting their stars and cleaning up dangerous play, but when the moment comes, when Caitlin Clark is actually getting hurt on camera, they do absolutely nothing.
Clark in the back. You have Kelly Krauskopf getting up, going to Caitlin Clark in the back. No foul calls at all. No foul call on that play at all. And the thing is, you know, Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner, they're all dapping it up in the locker room over there. They're all clapping each other high five in the locker room over there. All the old WNBA guard, they're all loving this. The old WNBA guard that some people want to get along with and key with and ha with, I ain't with that.
And you know what's happening in the Connecticut Sun locker room right now? Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner are celebrating. High fives all around. Mission accomplished. Because that's what this was. A mission. Take out Caitlin Clark. Make her uncomfortable. Test whether her coach will protect her. And they got their answer. Stephanie White won't do a damn thing. The old WNBA guard is loving this. They resent Clark's popularity, they resent her salary, they resent the attention she brings. And when they see her getting targeted with no consequences, it confirms everything they want to believe about who deserves protection in this league.
The Indiana Fever lost, and to be as transparent as I possibly can, I don't care. To be as transparent as I possibly can, to be as upfront and honest as I possibly can, I don't care. Caitlin Clark's not playing. Nah, whatever. Okay, they lost. So what? Kelsey Mitchell should have carried them to the victory, right, Stephanie? Right? Kelsey Mitchell should have carried you to the victory. The Hub should have carried this game. No, you lost Caitlin Clark. You lost the game. Yeah, good for you. What we all care about is Caitlin Clark leaving the game with a back injury.
Let's address the elephant in the room that nobody in mainstream WNBA media wants to touch. Stephanie White's relationship with these Connecticut Sun players goes back years. She coached in this league. She has friendships with these veterans. She has professional relationships she wants to maintain. And when those relationships conflict with protecting her current franchise player, we're seeing exactly where her priorities lie. She would rather preserve her standing with Alyssa Thomas than risk burning that bridge by demanding accountability for what happened on that court. That calculation might make sense for Stephanie White's career. It makes absolutely zero sense for the Indiana Fever's championship aspirations. Because here's what every team in this league now knows. You can target Caitlin Clark physically, and her coach won't fight back. You can knee her, punch her, step into her landing space, and Stephanie White will stand on that sideline with her arms crossed doing absolutely nothing. That's not coaching, that's complicity, and it's going to get Clark seriously injured if something doesn't change immediately. The Fever were on a 30-point watch before Clark left this game. She was heating up, the offense was flowing. And then the targeting started, the injuries accumulated, and she had to leave. The team lost 11-11 to 109 without her. Stephanie White can talk all she wants about riding with Caitlin Clark. But when the moment came to actually prove it, to actually stand up and demand the referees protect her player, she failed completely. And that failure tells you everything you need to know about where this coaching relationship is headed, because Caitlin Clark is watching this too. She sees her coach not fighting for her. She sees her GM showing more concern than her head coach. She sees other teams targeting her with zero consequences, and she's going to remember all of it when her contract situation comes up. The Indiana Fever organization needs to make a choice. Do they want to build around a generational talent who's bringing unprecedented attention and revenue to this franchise? Or do they want to keep a coach who's more concerned with maintaining her relationships with opposing players than protecting her own star? You can't have both. And right now, they're choosing wrong. Kelly Kraskopf needs to step in. Rekha Patel needs to step in. Somebody in that front office needs to recognize that this isn't sustainable. You cannot ask Caitlin Clark to be the face of your franchise while refusing to protect her from blatant targeting. The referees were terrible today, absolutely inexcusable, but the refs being bad is nothing new in this league. What's new is having a coach who won't even try to work the refs, who won't fight for calls, who won't put her own job on the line to protect her player. Dawn Staley would have gotten ejected, Cheryl Reeve would have gotten ejected, Becky Hammon would have gotten ejected. Every elite coach in this league understands that sometimes you take a technical foul to send a message. Sometimes you get thrown out of a game to show your team that you have their back. Stephanie White did none of that. And her explanation will probably be some corporate nonsense about staying composed and trusting the officials. But that's not what elite coaching looks like when your star is getting targeted. So where does this leave the Fever? They've got a back injury situation with their franchise player that they've been lying about for weeks. They've got a coach who won't protect that player from physical targeting. They've got a locker room that just watched their leader get assaulted with zero support from the sideline. And they've got a fan base that's increasingly furious about all of it. Something has to give. Either Stephanie White starts actually coaching like she cares about Caitlin Clark's health and safety, or the Fever need to find someone who will. Because this passive, arms-crossed, trust-the-process approach is going to end with their franchise player injured and their championship window closed before it ever really opened. The question for Indiana Fever fans is simple. How many more games like this are you willing to watch before you demand accountability? How many more times does Caitlin Clark have to leave a game injured while her coach does nothing before something changes? Because I guarantee you, Caitlin Clark is asking herself those same questions right now. And the answers she comes up with are going to determine whether she stays in Indiana long term, or starts looking for an organization that will actually protect her.